Installation procedure for the CYCLOPS X Purge Controller XP version. Single enclosure. Note: recommendations for how purge or pressurization systems should be connected are as follows. Installation locations should be selected for best ease of viewing of system pressure gauges and/or visual alarms. 2. All tubing, piping, and fittings that are selected should be suitable for the location where they will be installed, used, and protected from damage. 3. No valves shall be installed between the purge pressurization system and enclosure. Always refer to appropriate ATEX, CEC, IECEX, NEC/NFPA, and UL standards for proper installation and required tests for certification of any complete purge pressurization system installed on enclosure. Multiple enclosures in series. Note: recommendations for how purge or pressurization systems should be connected in multiple enclosure installations include the single enclosure recommendations plus the following. 1. Enclosures in series should be connected from smallest to largest enclosure. 2. Connections between enclosures should be appropriately sized to allow proper operation of purge pressurization system and proper purge gas flow through enclosures. 3. Conduit and wireways can be used as protected enclosures or as connections between enclosures. The volumes of these conduit and wireways should be included in the overall volume to be diluted before power can be applied. The first enclosure in series should have purge gas supply to enclosures. The last enclosure in series should have purge gas exhaust from enclosures and pressure reference point for indication and/or alarm. Hazardous area installation. Flammable gases or vapors lighter than air. Note: recommendations for installation in hazardous areas with flammable gases or vapors that are lighter than air are as follows. 1. The purge gas inlet supply connection should enter the enclosure near the bottom corner of the enclosure. 2. The enclosure exhaust vent should be installed near an extreme opposite top corner of the enclosure. Flammable gases or vapors heavier than air. Note: recommendations for installation in hazardous areas with flammable gases or vapors that are heavier than air are as follows. 1. The purge gas inlet supply connection should enter the enclosure near the top corner of the enclosure. 2. The enclosure exhaust vent should be installed near an extreme opposite bottom corner of the enclosure. For overall unit dimensions, hole sizes, and locations required to mount and interface the unit to an enclosure, refer to Purge Solutions CYCLOPS X Purge Controller XP version User's Manual. For the CYCLOPS X Purge Controller XP version mounting hole pattern, use drawing number DO-20012. For the CYCLOPS X Purge Controller XP version 115-volt AC wiring diagram, use drawing number DO-20018. For the CYCLOPS X Purge Controller XP version 230-volt AC wiring diagram, Use drawing number DO-20019. The following procedure should be performed when installing the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller. Review all of the material in the manual prior to installing and interfacing the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller to the enclosure which it will be monitoring. This installation shows mounting the unit on the left side of the enclosure. Alternatively, the unit can be mounted on the right side of the enclosure. Step 1. Make sure the area surrounding the enclosure in which the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller will be installed is known to be non-hazardous. Step 2. After it has been assured that the area surrounding the enclosure is known to be non-hazardous, open the enclosure door. Step 3. Select a location to mount the unit. Choose a location on the enclosure that is farthest away from the purge gas inlet kit to achieve best dilution results. The mounting location should permit adequate viewing of the CYCLOPS X Purge controller's LED and exhaust from the vent. Step 4. Use the mounting hole pattern, drawing number DO-20012, to accurately locate the mounting holes. Use this pattern to produce a 1:1 scale template. Tape the 1:1 template to the outside of the enclosure. The required hole locations can then be transferred and/or marked using the centers of the holes as shown on the 1:1 template. Step 5. Drill or punch all holes per the sizes specified on the mounting hole pattern, drawing number DO-20012. Step 6. Remove cover retaining clip, then unscrew cover off housing. Step 7. Before mounting the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller, install the O-ring provided into the O-ring groove. Step 8. After O-ring has been installed in the O-ring groove, align the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller to the mounting holes. Step 9. Use the 8 sets of screws, split lock washers, and flat washers provided with the unit to mount the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller to the enclosure. Tighten fasteners until the O-ring is completely compressed against the surface of the enclosure. Step 10. Install properly rated cable connection in the 1/2-14 NPT holes located on the side of the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller. Plug any 1/2-14 NPT holes not used with properly certified plugs rated for hazardous area location. For ease of illustration, poured seals, conduit, cable glands, cable and hole plugs are not shown during the installation process. Warning: poured seals, conduit, cable glands, cable and hole plugs should not be installed in a hazardous area classification for which they are not rated. Note: for Division 1 installations, when selecting the enclosure in which the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller will be installed, ensure that there is enough space available for poured seals and associated conduit for power and alarm wire to and from the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller housing. Note: for Division 1 installations, conduit must be sealed within 18 inches of the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller housing. All cable entries in the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller housing are 1/2-14 NPT. Note: for Zone 1 installations, when selecting the enclosure in which the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller will be installed, ensure that there is enough space available for cable glands and associated cable bringing power and alarm wire to and from the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller housing. Note: for Zone 1 installations, cable must be sealed at the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller housing. All cable entries in the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller housing are 1/2-14 NPT. Connect up to 10-gauge 3-conductor cable for power to the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller. Use wiring diagram drawing number DO-20018 for 115-volt AC unit wire terminal strip locations and DO-20019 for 230-volt AC unit wire terminal strip locations. Connect up to 10-gauge 3-conductor cable for power from the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller to the electrical equipment in the enclosure to be monitored and controlled by the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller. Use wiring diagram drawing number DO-20018 for 115-volt AC unit wire terminal strip locations and DO-20019 for 230-volt AC unit wire terminal strip locations. If applicable, connect up to 10-gauge 3-conductor cable for automatic leakage compensation purge gas inlet kit solenoid valve to the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller. Use wiring diagram drawing number DO-20018 for 115-volt AC unit wire terminal strip locations and DO-20019 for 230-volt AC unit wire terminal strip locations. Warning: if Purge Solutions Automatic Leakage Compensation Air Inlet Kit and associated solenoid valve is not used, plug remaining hole in the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller housing with 1/2-14 FNPT plug. Plug should not be installed in a hazardous area classification for which it is not rated. Connect up to 20-gauge 2-conductor wire for alarm signals from the CYCLOPS X-Purge controller. Use wiring diagram drawing number DO-20018